out for a test drive today in a pretty rare GM. It is a 1969 Impala 427 SS. But this 427 SS is the very rare, very sought after L72 4¼ horse 427.
Yeah, being rare, like Tyler said, it was only one of 546 of the full-size Chevys that came with the L72 427 in 1969, which was not even an option on the sheet. There wasn't a box that you checked for an L72. You actually had to know that Chevy produced the L72 and specifically asked for it.
Yeah, the only way, and these are mainly only offered in the full-size Chevys, you had to have a Copo or a Yenko to get it in either the Camaro or the Chevelle. Chevy did briefly offer it in the Corvette, and it was during that time, around 65, 66, that these L72s were rated even north of 425. They're actually originally rated at 450, but due to an agreement between the big three, the L72 was derated to 425. And I'm sure Dad could back this up, but driving this full-size boat of an Impala, that L72 has no issues sitting you back in your seat, even at half throttle.
Oh yeah, it's impressive. This car will move itself. I drove it for the first time. It's my first time driving an L72, a stock L72. This is a very original stock car. The block has been replaced with a warranty replacement block L72 427 though.
It has, and it still retains its original carburetor, its original distributor. Still has the Winters intake manifold on it, factory exhaust manifolds, so it is very unmodified. Other than it does have a set of Flowmaster exhaust, which do deliver an awesome sound out of this big block.
It sure does. And in this video, you're going to hear this car, but it doesn't do it justice. You standing outside, and that 427 fires up, and it's a thing of beauty. The sound that comes out of this car. And inside the cabin is very quiet for a 69 original car. There's a little bit of air noise, but not bad. And Tyler knows this, that I have a little bit of a soft spot for these unrestored original cars. This car has been repainted. It's an older repaint that is showing quite a bit of age. It's a nice 5 to 10 footer. It shines well, but there are some age cracks. It's definitely not a show queen by any means. The interior, though, the original interior, is in very good condition. The front seat appears to have been reupholstered. The headliner does have one seam that's starting to come apart, but everything else appears to be original and in very good condition.
And the interior in this car is very unmodified. You've probably noticed in our walk-around video there is an 8-track player, and that is a factory installed cassette stereo on this car. The factory AM radio is still intact. The correct SS steering wheel is still there in probably excellent condition.
Yeah, it's in very good condition. No brakes, no cracks. It's for an original steering wheel.
Yeah. And the sheet metal in this car is very original. The quarters are still intact with no sign of any body work. The bottom side of this car is immaculate. Maybe showing a little bit of the rust protection maybe is coming off, but no rust of any sort. And the trunk pan is beautiful.
And it appears to still retain the original coating on the inside of the trunk. The original tags are still there. But yeah, like Tyler said, we have not been able to find any signs of any metalwork done on this car. Very straight, original steel body, 69 Impala. Very mechanically sound. I wouldn't be afraid car and drive this car cross country.
Oh yeah, it's bump key start. I mean, it just pulls right. I mean, this is how an L72 is supposed to drive. And on top of that, these cars, I mean, you know, these 69 Chevys are kind of hard to tell if they're true SS and all that. They're one of the most highly replicated cars, but this car is extremely well documented. We have the original window sticker. We have the original dealer inspection sheet. We have the original owner's manual. We have 2 build sheets that go with this car, as well as the complete owner history of this car. And it's kind of a fun story. I mean, this car was originally purchased because this guy wanted something to keep up with his buddy's Yanko Nova, and his buddies just had big block Chevy cars. So he ordered this L72 Impala, and I'm sure it kept up. I mean, these cars were amazingly quick for how big they were.
There was basically, it was the 427 Corvette, right?
Yeah.
That kept up with this in the quarter mile.
Yeah, the quarter, I mean, we have a time slip from the 80s. This car made a pass, and it put down a 13.5. And to give you an idea, I mean, the factory Topo Camaros were rated at a 13.7. This car was very quick for how big it was, and for how unmodified this full-size Chevy is.
It's still very quick.
It is. But yeah,
If we get up here at a stop, maybe I'd be able to get on it just a little bit. Hear that second gear part.
yeah.
But go ahead, tell the story on
Yeah,
the
going back to the ownership history, the original owner then sold it to a good friend of his locally, and that gentleman actually took some pictures of the car that go with the car when it sells. And in the picture of the car, you'll notice there's a toddler, and that toddler is in fact the 5th owner of this car. He kind of hunted down his uncle's old car because he remembers riding in this car, and just knew how special it was to his uncle. So the car has kind of an awesome ownership history. It's been featured in 2 different magazines. It's had full-length articles written about this car in Carcraft magazine back in 1984 and Classic Chevys in 2015.
So really not that long ago. Very tight. Yeah, it's just a great example of the true big block, big horsepower V8s of the 60s. It's a great car.
Yeah, it's definitely one if you're looking for, I mean, if you're just looking for something like a very rare and well documented big block muscle car to drive, this is a great one. Or if you want to easily take this car to the next level and have a very rare show car, it would